This is what you need to know now. Mixed messages from President Trump on the war in Iran.
Some people could say they're pretty well complete.
Will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated.
The U.S. military striking more than 5,000 targets across the country. Gas prices soar. Californians are now seeing nearly $7 a gallon.
Right now, I'm already at $65 and still pumping.
2 Pennsylvania teens facing federal terrorism charges. The FBI says they were inspired by ISIS. And why some U.S. airports are suggesting getting to your flight 5 hours before departure.
Come on, 2 lines, 2 escalators.
We have much more what you need to know now. I'm James Longman from ABC News. It's Tuesday, March 10th, and this is what you need to know. I'm in Sulaymaniyah, Iraq, near the border with Iran. It is the 11th day of this war. Let's get right to the big story. President Trump with bold yet conflicting statements on the war in Iran, both declaring that it could end soon, but also warning that the worst fighting could be ahead.
We're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely.
He then suggests the U.S. has more work to do.
We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. We go forward more determined than ever.
Our Selena Wang pressed the president on those contradictory assessments.
Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further.
Trump says he's now considering taking over the Strait of Hormuz, the shipping lane virtually closed by Iran, through which 20% of the world's oil supply travels. The French say they're also sending warships to the region, which could help boost security for oil tankers. Gas prices have soared by nearly 50 cents since last week, now averaging about $3.64 a gallon, with some Californians seeing rises as high as $7 a gallon. The president says that's a short-term sacrifice for stability in the Middle East.
We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families.
Iran responded to the president's remarks, claiming they still had significant missile launching capability. Iranian attacks are still being launched daily across the Gulf. Strikes have been intercepted from the UAE to Qatar, and in Bahrain, at least one person has been killed in a fresh attack. This as the US and Israel hit hundreds of new targets across Iran. Dramatic video circulating online shows people racing to escape as missiles blasted this military base outside Tehran. US Central Command has released new video of strikes on missile launchers. It says the US has now hit more than 5,000 targets and 50 Iranian vessels. But there are reports of civilians still dying in the crossfire. Local reports say as many as 40 people were killed in an apartment complex in the east of Tehran. And the regime is still defiant, organizing thousands of people into the streets to celebrate the new supreme leader, many of them shouting "Death to America." And 700,000 people have now been displaced from southern Lebanon as Israel moves against Iranian proxy Hezbollah. That's more than 10% of the entire country's population. Around 450 people have been killed there, more than 80 children among them. And back in the US, the stark reminder of the price already being paid. Vice President J.D. Vance taking part in the dignified transfer of the 7th fallen soldier. 26-year-old Benjamin Pennington from Kentucky arrived at Dover Air Force Base. And in an update to a story we've reported, Australia has now granted asylum to 5 members of the Iranian women's soccer team who were in the country for a tournament when the war broke out. The players sought refuge by leaving the team's training camp. Officials are also offering to help their teammates, but some of the women may refuse, fearing for the safety of their families back home. The women were branded traitors on Iranian state TV after many of them refused to sing along with the Iranian national anthem before a game in South Korea last week. The FBI says 2 teenagers from Pennsylvania who were arrested in New York City accused of trying to detonate explosives at a protest outside Mayor Zohran Mamdani's home were radicalized by ISIS propaganda. One of them allegedly saying he was disappointed that the Boston Marathon bombing caused only 3 deaths. Aaron Katersky has the details of their first appearance in federal court.
James, 2 teens from Pennsylvania are now facing federal terrorism charges here in New York, along with a charge of using a weapon of mass destruction after authorities said they brought improvised explosives, homemade bombs, to a protest on Saturday outside the home of New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. The teens allegedly told the authorities they wanted to carry out an attack bigger than the Boston Marathon bombing. There were no injuries, but this is just the kind of thing that authorities in this country have been fearing with the United States at war now in the Middle East. The 2 teens are charged in federal court. An attorney for one of them said he's just 18, he doesn't know what he's doing. But the authorities said that this was intentional and it had been inspired by ISIS.
They're both being held without bail and did not yet enter a plea. President Trump's 2 eldest sons are investors in a new drone company that wants to do business with the Pentagon. On Monday, drone maker Powerus described Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump as, quote, notable investors in their operation. In a press release, the company says it will aim to support American drone industry dominance through domestic manufacturing, autonomous systems, innovation, and strategic defense partnerships. In December, the Trump administration banned foreign-made drones and their critical components, citing national security concerns. Analysts say that action created an opening for companies to compete for lucrative Pentagon contracts. The Trump family has previously said their father is not involved in any of their business deals, and the president has repeatedly denied any conflicts of interest, with the White House saying that his assets are in a trust, though not a traditional hands-off blind trust, but one managed by his children. Air travelers at some airports are in for another day of long lines. The delays dragging on for hours are blamed on the partial government shutdown that's denying TSA workers their full paychecks. Gio Benitez has the details.
So how would you feel about waiting in a TSA line for up to 3 hours? That's exactly what happened over the past couple of days over at Hobby Airport in Houston. We've been seeing some airports with these longer lines. That's because of the partial shutdown. These TSA workers haven't received a full paycheck in almost a month. So many of them are not showing up to work, and that's expected to get worse. Some airports are saying try to arrive 4 to 5 hours before your flight. There have been some airports that we've actually seen people waiting in line all the way into the parking garage.
And we have much more what you need to know. Now to some quick hits. Other stories ABC News is following today. A jury in New York City has found the Alexander brothers guilty on all counts in their federal sex trafficking trial. Israeli Americans Tal and Oren Alexander, 2 of the country's most prominent real estate brokers, and their brother Alon, were convicted on all counts related to a years-long conspiracy to traffic women and girls for sex. Throughout the 5-week trial, 11 women testified they were sexually assaulted by one or more of the brothers. At least 8 of the women also claimed they were drugged. Their sentencing is August 6th. They claim they're innocent and will appeal. A 35-year-old woman accused of shooting at Rihanna's Los Angeles home is being held in custody on more than $10 million bail. She was booked on attempted murder charges after police say she fired at least 10 shots at the house. Police say the suspect's Facebook account referenced Rihanna in recent weeks. She's not yet entered a plea. The singer was home at the time of the incident, but no one was hurt. And some happy news for Kansas City Chiefs fans. NFL superstar Travis Kelce is returning to the team for his 14th NFL season. Though there was some retirement speculation after the Chiefs failed to make the playoffs, Kelce has signed a 1-year deal with the Chiefs. And new today, actor-director Tim Busfield will appear in court in New Mexico. Busfield was indicted on 4 counts of criminal sexual contact with a minor. He has denied the allegations and pleaded not guilty to all charges. And now, one more thing before you go. An activist group held an empty shoes vigil in New York City to mourn the deaths of dozens of Iranian schoolgirls killed in what may have been an accidental American airstrike on the first day of this war. The Pentagon investigation is ongoing. The vigil included pictures of the young girls and signs calling for an end to the war. And that's what you need to know. For breaking news and live updates throughout the day, check out ABC News streaming on Disney+.
New episodes streaming every day on Disney+.